I get back to work. I do look forward to the future when people can live intimate and faithful and romantic lives. That's something I really look forward to. That's a lot of my mother in me. But yeah, I'm different than my mom. My mom was very focused, like that one kid said on the, my mom was very man-centric. She was looking for the right man to live that romantic life, and I don't. No, I'm not that type of person. I want romance from my mom and other people like my mom because life's eternal and grace is infinite. But I've got too much work to do. Mom, I can't see why anybody forget to eat. Well, I had something to do, mother. But I have too much work to do, and I'm too focused and too calm and too loving and too strong to focus on a sexual relationship when you're not living the Gospels. And so I don't see how anybody can sit around and talk about the Gospels all the time and keep fucking. It's just like, well, what are you doing? We're going to live the Gospels one day. And you go, fuck now. Okay, get out of here. I don't like your ass. Pray to Jesus one more time about your fucked up life, I get tired of that shit, because they talked last night on Kimmel. I said that, the King of England went to Venice Beach, had a tattoo of a guy from Calvin and Hobbs pissing on the 13 colonies. And so, yeah, that's no different than most people that have pictures of Jesus or a cross on them because of their tribalism and their trials and tribulations of fighting over sexual access and sexual reproduction. Yeah. Just stand up for the Lord's Prayer and stop being such a fucking sex-driven little twit. Fuck. Okay. Earl. Guys, they've been doing this for hundreds of thousands of years, and I've been this way for quite a long time. Adam, Moses, David, Jesus, John. I don't know what the anthropology or whatever evidence they have of the man and the woman they found in North Africa, but that's... They found the bodies, and that's one of the temples of the soul, not my soul, but the soul. The glory of God provided for the temple of this body. Regardless of what all the biggest, dickest black guys want to think, and all the people and all the royal families throughout the world want to think, it's Earl. He's the dude. It's him, and I'm not an ape playing chess. That's George of Jungle's friend. I'm not George of Jungle. I'm Earl, Ralph and Mary's boy. They had the stuff all wrong. I sit back and look at it. I don't pay attention to a lot of the people that aren't focused on me. Focus on the Lord's Prayer. I'm the living embodiment of the Lord's Prayer. I'm the one who is, quote unquote, the living correction, like I explained to Andrew Womack's people in Sierra Vista. A lot of people think they're a living correction. No, they know they are. Jesus didn't think he was a living correction. Jesus is the living correction to all the writing down and the mythology and the lies that the people use to manipulate to feel powerful. Okay, Daniel is, Joseph is, Moses is, Earl is in the book, and Earl is. Earl doesn't think he's a correction to all your murder and your lie. Earl is the correction to all your murder and lie. Okay? You can go piss on the 13 colonies all you want with a cartoon character. That's not going to change. You can hit it with a stick. It's not going to change. Right? So it's time to go across the sleet and falling snow, across the fields of morning, lights in the distance. And you hunger for the time to heal, desire time. But you're always fighting. You're always fighting and fighting and fighting. Stop seeing yourself as your tribe and see yourself as a human being given life by the glory of God, and help other people understand the truth of your existence because it's the truth of their existence. Right? You can't run away from yourself. You can't run away from yourself. Right? I've seen some black man do things to make their hair look like white man. I've seen some black man do things to make their skin look like white man, but I gotta hold on to my pride. As a black man, I can't let go. That was a long time ago, before migration forced my relatives through sexual occult activity to migrate near even as far on my dad's side of the family to the White Cliffs of Dover. My mom's family was mostly, most of my memories. I share memories with my dad's family, but they're not as intense as the Germanic ones. And the Germanic ones, there was also a lot of, the Germanic ones are kind of a short period of time. Most of it's the Iberian Peninsula, guys. That's where Mary Magdalene's and others people went after the crucifixion. They migrated and they went across to France, and I don't think they stayed there long and ended up in Spain. My grandmother was a dark Jew. Okay, migrated through Germany, through Iberian Peninsula after the Inquisition, is what I'm led to believe. And that's why there's more, of marrying Patrick's mom and his hands clapping and feet sitting in, And I grew up in and there's a lot of it, just water off a duck's back. It's, they were migrating, persecuted, Holy Grails that ended up in the Iberian Peninsula and with the occupation of the Moors and stuff. So there's a lot of, La ti la molakali, la ti la malakali, la ti malakali. Lato Vinta del Rerina in the noggin, right? And which makes sense. And I had a lot of macho bullshit in me, and the young Buddhist young man that met me with his French girlfriend. He's like this. Well, this is he's biologically and psychologically conditioned for thousands of years to, respect, it's the woman and the man and the, stuff. And so, I'm very much, conquistador, your stallion stands, right? And so I hope for something to find again. And so, I took classes, gravitated towards that because that was my history, my tribalism, but it's more connecting to the soul, to understand the temples of the people that are still fighting and fighting. Like when we did the baptisms for the dead in Mesa. And the bishop, no one, everybody else, we saved all those people. That's how they come up and say that. When I came up and talked to him, he looked at me like, no one's ever said this to me. There was a small group that were like, yay, that was relatives of the person that gave all the names. Okay. When I did the baptisms for the dead, and I could tell you which ones. I told them, most of them, I'm Catholic, get out of here. I'm Catholic, get out of here. Like here in New Mexico, we're Catholic, get out of here. Right? That's what I got. We were doing baptisms for the dead in Spain. All right. There's only one small group that was the souls of the people that had already, quote, been saved, the molecular similitudes of the people that were doing the, so, oh, yay, we're doing the ritual. It's like, you're already part of the church. You don't need to, okay, life's eternal and grace is infinite. They're not figuring this out, are they? Okay, no, okay. It's just like making a phone call to yourself in the past when you're doing a baptism for the dead and someone else is picking up on the conversation, party line, She ain't got no party line. Situation blowing my mind. I just can't take the Mr. Telephone Man. There's something wrong with my line. When I call my baby's number, I gotta click every time some strange man is on the telephone. Keeps telling me my baby ain't home. So Ray Parker Jr., right? A woman needs love just like you do. Don't fool yourself into thinking that she don't. She can fool around just like you do. Right? Honey, that's my favorite Ray Parker Jr. song. I like Jack and Jill too, but my favorite is, you can change the color of your hair and you can change the clothes you wear. But you never change the way I care. No, what happened to that brother? He had a pretty good voice. It happens a lot. Like, lead singer to Scarlac, one song. Didn't back up for Mavis Staples. And what else did he do? Nothing. Man had a good voice. Yeah. It's hard to get good material. Apparently so. I don't know about that because Marty Robbins, I'll be doggone if Marvin Gaye and Marty Robbins didn't have a large catalog of really good music. Okay. Jim Croce, what happens, and do you think, because Burt Bacharach had other muses he didn't use his, maybe they didn't want to be used by Burt Bacharach as a muse, maybe they didn't want to have sex with Burt Bacharach to sing songs for him. Are you saying BJ Thomas had sex with Burt Bacharach? I don't know. You never know. I don't know. I don't want to know. Don't want to know. See, there's a lot of things I don't want to know. Because neither me, ain't none of my business. But they did plug people in from my genetics into the computers. And it's a need-to-know basis. Like I told Brian Manwar in Sierra Vista, Arizona, I said, what's it like being the Messiah? Well, you get lots of traffic, but what about knowing that, you don't want to, you're not a paranoid schizophrenic like David Rockefeller and all the other, I'm a hustler, baby. I'm your pusher, baby. Right? You're not like that. So you're the deliverance from evil. You're the truth of, you're the freedom of truth and faithful love. So, when they're at war with you, you're trying to circumcise their hearts so they won't go at war with one another. Love thy enemy. So I can't tell you what per se, is going on with the inner circle of the president and all those wackadoodles, like Jesus always tells me, I don't get emails from the Clintons and the Bushes. And okay, me neither. Okay. That's a good thing. It's a good thing. The one they all consider the devil, he talked to me for a while and told me, broke everything down to me, okay, in Sierra Vista. David Rockefeller and then Philip Rothschild was present, okay, and they broke everything down to me, to the most minute detail, how horrible these people were, but stuff I didn't want to know. And then Jesus, are you ready for this? And no, I'm not ready yet, Jesus. And I definitely wasn't ready for the things that were happening with Amy and how is it affecting her kids, and with Patrick and how with Steffi and how is it affecting Patrick. I was not ready to hear that because there wasn't anything I could do. You can't protect your children from these predators, these sexual predators that mass murder over money and market people for sexuality as if it's a mere entertainment or a sexual competition for money. Yeah, I understand that I could not protect my family from that, and I couldn't stop it from happening, and we're still stuck in it. I'm cognizant of that. I'm very muy aware of that, and not muy excited about it, right? So yeah, I understand that. Me and Chris Perez and Mark Munoz had the conversation. Why didn't you do this? Why did we got all macho? Because it's the Iberian Peninsula thing, right? Then we're like, dude, I love you too. No, Chris can get fired up. He's a real sweetheart, but he can get, what do you expect me to do? What was I going to do? Everything, this shit's hard. I was like, yeah, I know. And those guys, that she did with that, yeah, they are all hitting on her, and they're all hotter and bigger dicker, and yeah, I know. George Jones and going to the parties with Roman Gabriel and all that. And everybody's hitting on Tammy Wynette. Yeah, and then they said old Weasel Face fucked it up. He didn't fuck it up, ferret face or whatever they called him, but it was like, no, he just, he wasn't, it was like Billy Joel with Christy Brinkley. Yeah. Okay. Guys, in some of my relationships, I was more physically desirable than the female. Okay. The women, what it's like Amy used to do, what's he doing with her? Okay. And women feel that and they hear that, Oh, he's really hot. Where's his wife? Oh, that's his wife. She must be really good in bed. And they were, Steffi and Amy. Oh yeah, they were really good in bed. But it's regardless of the fact. But it's just, they really were. Yeah. But the thing is, like I explained to Amy last night, is like, no, Steffi was great in bed for the first 2 months. And then after that, she tortured you. You did all the work to try to keep her happy, kept trying to keep her satisfied, to keep her, she couldn't come. Law could, but Law had asthma and was not athletic, and you had to do all the work. And when you got her to the climax, well, I miss you. It was great, but you had to work your ass off. You had to always take the top. You had to do all the work because she couldn't. She had asthma and she couldn't, all the things that Steffi and Amy did for me, Law couldn't do real well because she was kind of sickly. But when she hit it, she went, yay, like Nola's just got to have it and it's fun. But you did all the work. You worked your ass off. Okay. It was worth it. It was fun. Okay. Still be doing it? Oh, yeah. We'd have moved up to Flagstaff. I'd be in great shape doing my yoga, my Tai Chi, she'd still be, whoo, and she'd get in better shape because I would get her out of the city and into her and feed her lots of salads and stuff. And so she'd finally, wow, I'm getting a slow ride. This is awesome, and wow, we're doing it doggy style. This is great, right? So she would have radically changed. She'd have gotten healthier and stuff, but that wasn't meant to be because of you and all your business partners and all you selfish fucking cows that can't stay the hell out of anybody's bedroom because you want to be powerful and influential with your science and your money, and we're going around the moon. Why? It's something we're all focused on. We're all focused on J-Lo's butt back in the 90s, and now we got to go to the moon. I guess it's round objects that we sit there and think, "Ooh, I can't wait to fuck on that. I can't wait to fuck there." Okay. That must be the thing. Can't wait to fuck up the moon. Can't wait to fuck up the moon. Okay. We're not done fucking up planet Earth yet. Why are we going to go fuck up the moon and Mars yet? Well, can't wait to fuck there. Oh, God damn, they're insane. No, they are. You can't have a coherent conversation with any of them. And the virtual presence, past, present, future, operate at the same time. And when I need the information, that's when I get the information. That's when I share the information. Because I'm fixing the technology. I'm not fixing the people that are using the technology to keep me anonymous. And they have to understand that. Okay. I'm not your friend. I'm the Messiah. Okay. You're not living the Lord's Prayer. You're not standing up to the Lord's Prayer. You have no intention on living the Lord's Prayer until you've killed the people you think need killing. I'm here to circumcise your heart. I'm fixing your ass. You're not fixing me. You're containing the freedom of truth and faithful love is what you're doing with your ego. Zoinks! Let's get out of here, Scoob! Okay, Raggy. The ghost is here and it's always a fake. I don't give a fuck what they're doing at Fort Huachuca and White Wasanza and all that shit. I don't care what the murdering assholes are doing. Okay, that's not my issue. Okay, my issue is the living embodiment of the Lord's Prayer, the example of a faithful man that honors the glory of the soul in the temple of the flesh. That's my issue. That's my thing. I'm gonna do my thing, right? Neither James Brown nor Jackie Robinson nor Wilt Chamberlain be. I'm not the latest, the greatest, the mashed potato. I'm a man. Yes, I am, and I can't help but love you so. But I'm the standard of human male faith through my family of sexual reproduction. Okay. Well, I love Tetsuro Suzuki. Okay, we're not in the same family of sexual reproduction, but then we demingled because his cousins are the Okinawans, and my Uncle Jerry married and had a child with Nana. Okay, so he did marry into Suzuki's family line. Okay, so there was a connection there, and it was felt from the time I was a little kid, They're going to my brother's place. Well, Earl, you're being selfish. I want to meet Uncle Jerry, too, in Aunt Nana, right? It was a restaurant. Mm-hmm. Used to be on Main. Yeah. They shut it down, tore it down. It was interesting because, what was her name again? Was it Rebecca Martinez? Oh my gosh, she's so pretty. She's a real pretty, shy girl at Mayfield. And we never talked, okay? But when I was a single dad with Patrick, she was a waitress at my brother's place. We went with Lawrence, and she kind of inquisited about me to Lawrence, I was like, what? Yeah, I am. I'm single, and this is my son, and we're a pair, and we're gorgeous. Yes, we're gorgeous. He was the best. Women just loved him. Okay? Then they met his mother and got scared off. Not all. Deb wasn't scared off. There was quite a few women that were not scared off. They didn't see it as a challenge, but I could deal with Stephanie. No, you can't. Ask Amy, No one could deal with stuff. No, Law could have. That's why when I went back and we went to things and me and Law were acting like we were going to hook up again, I was trying to get a cost. If anybody could help Patrick not be messed around by Steffi's anger and selfish moods, it would be her cousin-in-law. If anybody would be a good mother to Patrick, it would have been Yolanda Denise Gilliard. But Kay didn't let it happen. And she gave Patrick to Stephanie instead. And Stephanie and the state wouldn't have been as good of parents as me and Yolanda. And I'm over that, you know. Law was thinking about it, but Kay wouldn't let it happen. That's not my issue. What the military does with technology to mindfuck, to get a narrative and an outcome that they desire because they're selfish and they want to continue mass murder over money with technology is not my issue. That's, you know, like me and Amy have those talks and I'm like, it wasn't going to happen. It wasn't, no, I don't think that stuff anymore. I can talk about what we attempted to do, but it wasn't, if it was going to happen, it would have happened and it didn't. Okay. It's like I told, the little lady and then Marty Cruz in Sierra Vista, you know, I had lots of plans for my life. And then I ended up working at a grocery store in Sierra Vista. By that time, I was supposed to be a very successful college or high school coach, coaching basketball, helping kids play basketball in a healthy manner so they don't do things and fight and kill each other over money, but they love one another because they're healthy. You know, I got mines. Don't worry about his. And you know, my thing with professional basketball is we're all getting paid, guys. You know, more money. You don't need more money. You need more love, more joy than age or time could ever destroy. Now, honey, my love is so strong. It take 100 lifetimes to wear it down, tear it down. You know my song for my Kate. Doon 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 doon. See, right there, the little heart on the love on the. See the little heart on the love with the little, and then see the little Kilroys right there. You see the picture? Aren't they cute? Yeah, they're cute. No, they can't take that away. You know, the way you sing off key, the way we laugh till 3, you know. I don't, you know, they can't, you know, I don't like to talk about the murder of Michelle. And we don't get to talk as much in prayer as I would like. Because they took her away because they're selfish and that's how they torture me. You know. They give me people that there's a strong bond of affection, and then they give, you know, they've done this to me my whole life, and then they rip them away. And then they say, you're going to fight to get it back? No, I'm the living embodiment of the Lord's Prayer. You're going to fight to keep fucking and killing, and I'm going to be the standard. And then eventually one day, every day the bucket will go to the well, and one day the bottom of the bucket will fall out. And Cinnamon, where are you going to run to all on that day, right? So I don't think like you know, Pancho with those no-bake cookies in Colville, you know, you just want mine. I don't think like you do. No, I'm not like the assholes at school on the football team that are, no, I'm not like them. You know, I want to play and have fun and be healthy. And if they don't want to do that, you know, I'll go play by myself. I'll play basketball in the barn by myself. You know, I don't have to play at the Talking Stick Arena. I don't have to play at the Madison Square Garden that ain't the Madison Square Garden, or the Boston Garden that ain't the Boston Garden. You know, they call it that. Just because they call it that doesn't mean it's the one where, you know, because when old Bo Ellis telling, you know, this is where, that's not true. No, they played at the Mecca. The Mecca held about 8,000 to 10,000 people. And I don't know if it's even there anymore. When he was telling Bill Gates, you know, come play here, and this is where that's not where all that happened. No, this is a new arena that was built in the 1990s, you know, the ones with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Oscar Robinson and all the stuff he's talking about, and Butch Lee and Jerome Whitehead and himself, you know, they played at the Mecca, which, no. All those memories, all those banners and stuff, it didn't happen there. It's just they hung up a picture in a new house and said, this is the old house, but it's not. I remember watching that on Hoop Dreams. I was like, nah, that's not true. Don't tell me that shit. You played in those games, man. He's sitting there telling him that, and it's like, you can't tell him that. Just like you can't tell, the people that come play for the Lakers, that was a fabulous forum. Brent Mushburger, you can go watch it on YouTube, right? They don't play there no more. It's outdated. And they built a new one with luxury boxes and suites and lots of lights that make you feel like you're part of the experience, man. Biggie, 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 can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me, right? So you got to understand the type of people you're dealing with. They talk about tradition, and the tradition is a selfish perception that's a culture, that's their sexual violence, sexual activity, and not the true nature of your existence. The freedom of truth and faithful love. Okay, the truth is we're all given life by the glory of God, not the loins of a mass murderer with money and ego problems and the best tech support in the history of money and ego problems, right? I'm fixing this here technology, so I got to get to my 2-a-days and then get to my exercise. And there's lots of people showing me where to go, and they never want to lose their inspiration. All the selfish people that have no intention on showing up, they think about it, but they're too afraid because they're too selfish. I know you're not going to show up. I just encourage you to stand up for a Lord's Prayer and then enjoy it on your own time. You can't speak your mind, but not on my time, right? You got the right to speak your mind, and it's the same with me. Yeah, but I don't have to listen to it, and I don't have to listen to your ego spout about how great you think you are either. Okay, so I love you. Okay, gotcha. Okay, you know what I'm saying? So have a good time. Elijah was a wooden Indian standing by the door. He fell in love with the Indian maiden over at the antique store. Elijah, he never got a kiss. Elijah, that poor old wooden head. Earl rhymes with girl. It could be a woman that's Elijah. They just flipped the script. Oh, they Title IX to me. You want to make money instead of live the Lord's Prayer, and you say you love children. You want an evil bitch. You know that? Stockholm syndrome just went a little bit too far. You have his dick in your stomach. He's fucking you, but it's in your throat, right? That's all you think about is his dick. I get so weak in the knees. Okay, well, you have a good time. Well, you'll never know what it's like to make love with Dinkle Man, the man who saves children from being raped to death by your boyfriend if his spectacular penis and his spectacular bed is affirmed as Ali Dar and his, whatever other racehorse he thinks he is. Okay. Well, you have a nice life. You obliged to have one? Yeah. All right, show horses and show dogs. Don't forget the show dogs. Yeah, I know. No, my Prissy was really into those. Well, she likes dogs, and they're cute, but people get hoodwinked by the aristocrats, and then they think some cats are better, and then you have to tell them, no, these people don't care. Like I told Dad the other day about Andy Griffith. He's sitting at the table. He goes, those horrible people. He didn't get it till now, till I explained it to him. Like Ralph Ellison's Invisible Man. Okay, guys. I love you, all right? Peace out, man.